Okay, so good afternoon there, and welcome to a special Elite FPL podcast where I'm going to be talking all about my free hit team. Do excuse my somewhat disheveled appearance. I've got a bit of hay fever going on, so I've had to put up with hay fever and sorting out my free hits. This is very much for the hardcore Elite FPL fans. No fancy graphics. No Sultan Saeed in chat. Very basic, and obviously the first time I've done a solo podcast. Hello, FPL Booner. Hello, Brett. Great to see so many familiar faces back here. So, like I say, this is basically me talking through my free hit team. Now, if you watched the previous podcast, you'd have seen us talking all about our free hit teams. Jason and Steve are doing really well in the elite. You didn't expect my faces. So I could just see the comments popping up in chat. It's hard not to get distracted by them. But good afternoon, G-Wiz. Good afternoon, Daily Llama. But yeah, I'm 8th in the mini league. Got quite a point gap to overhaul. And I've decided to do my free hit chip. What with it being a double game week 33. But just before I get into it, we have some team news. Manchester City are playing Fulham at the moment. What starts at 12:30. Ederson, David Silva, Sterling, and Aguero all start the game. So when I saw that team news, I could just breathe a little bit more because I was just thinking, oh, please don't rest Sterling. Feel quite safe with Aguero, but yeah, Sterling, I was just a bit worried. So without further ado, I'm going to go in to my free hit team for double game week 33. So in goal, I've gone for Kepa from Chelsea. I'm just going to talk about our starting 11 here. We're not going to bother about the subs. The subs are all budget, dead players like Romeo, people like that. But yeah, I went for Kepa. Was tempted by Ederson initially, but I would explain why I didn't go for Ederson and why I've gone for City coverage in the midfield. I feel all right about Kepa with the fixtures, Cardiff and Brighton. Can't always rely on Chelsea this season, but I think with those fixtures for the double game week, he was the best choice. At 5.4 million, be interesting to see what people in chat do think about that. But yeah, I went for Kepa in goal. And then to add to the Chelsea theme, I've gone for David Luiz. Now, I was very tempted by Azpilicueta, but he's a few more million. So Luiz was kind of a cheaper option. As we know, David Luiz, quite an attacking defender, can get the occasional assist. So I felt quite confident with David Luiz. I've doubled up in Chelsea defence. It's a little bit risky, but I've just gone with it. I've tried not to overthink it too much. I had my team in mind during the week. Decided to play it this morning. So David Luiz, feel fairly confident with that one. The next one is a little bit of a differential pick. So I've gone for Lindelöf, and I just had to look back at my sheet just to remember. But yeah, I've gone for Lindelöf, 5.1 million. Man United obviously involved in this double game week. Watford and Wolves. I initially went with Ashley Young at 5.7. Then I went Chris Smalling. And then I thought, hold on a minute. My mate Steve-O had Lindelöf, 5.1. So I've gone with Lindelöf. Fairly certain he's going to play both games. Hope I haven't jinxed that now. But I can see G-Wiz. Oh no. FPL Boone is telling me he's not being spotted. We've got all these rumours about players that aren't going to play. Like apparently Tompkins isn't going to play as well. If he doesn't play, he doesn't play. You know, he seemed like a good move at the time. So that time of the game week when you start to regret decisions. But look, I've gone for Lindelöf. We'll see what happens. And then Slup. Love the name Slup. Apparently he's playing on the left wing today. There's an in the know on Twitter speculating that Slup is playing left wing, and Tompkins, who is my next pick, is not playing. So yeah, quite concerned. About 4.5 Slup, decent form recent game weeks, and yeah, feel fairly confident with that if he does play left wing today at home to Huddersfield. Ideally, I want Tompkins and Slup to play, double up. at home to Huddersfield does seem like a good choice. Who's coming off the bench? I've got Romeo on my bench. I've got Connolly from Cardiff. I've got really cheap bench. Okay, I felt like Tompkins was my safety on the bench, but I've gone for really cheap bench. Yeah, all doubts. It's all very well saying it in hindsight, but you will now understand why my bench is so cheap. So I'm going to go into my power midfield, and I'm really bigging it up now. We all know who my first midfielder is going to be. It's going to be Raheem Sterling. He's absolutely smashed it up for England over the last during the international break, as they call it. Been brilliant form for Man City. I think Raheem Sterling is the definite player to have this game week. It's double game week, of course. Starts today. Bit concerned about the midweek fixture, but had to go for Sterling. And I've captained Sterling as well, so I can say that live on air. I was very tempted to captain. Yeah, Brett Mollison. Yeah, I've captained Sterling. This is when I start. When you do these live, this is my first ever live reaction video, my first ever solo one on here. You start to question your own decisions. But look, I just went for it. I thought, go on, let's captain Sterling. I was going to look at my team again. I was going to captain Aguero, and I thought, no, I'm going to go for a walk by the beach. I'm going to forget about it. So, gone for Sterling. I've really got to make up ground this game week. I've got to get a minimum 100 points. It's as simple as that. So, on to my next pick, Eden Hazard. Now, I did say during our midweek podcast, I do not trust Eden Hazard. But once again, with the fixtures and his form in the reverse game against the two teams that Chelsea play during the double game week, I just had to go for it. Hazard loves battering these smaller teams. No disrespect to the teams that he's playing or fans of the teams that he's playing, but he loves playing against these smaller teams. So I've gone for Hazard, and he's did well for Belgium during the international games in the matches they played. So Sterling, Hazard no brainer, as G-Wiz says. Brett Mollison says Hazard is banned from my team. Wasn't allowed to pick him. Maybe you could elaborate on why you weren't allowed to pick him, but that would be interesting. So the next one, is it a differential or not? I don't know, but I've gone for David Silva of Manchester City, coming in at 8.5 million. Obviously retired from Spanish international duty, so fresh for this game week. Starts today against Fulham and did well in the reverse fixture against these two teams they're playing. David Silva. So there's a bit reassured now. So FPL Boone is joining me. Obviously wants to try and overtake me in our elite FPL mini league. That's such a good league. The standard of the league is so high. Daily Lama says, I'm wondering if his triple hit on time. May have hit Aguero from Hazard at 11:29. Well, I tell you, doing the free hit chip on the app, it's not really that user friendly. And when I actually was about to play my free hit, you click the line to play the free hit chip. All right, FPL Bruno, we'll see. And it still says minus 54. I was thinking, oh, is this gonna do this properly? I had a real moment of panic, but it's okay. It's all right. But David Silva, 8.5 million. I think good value, good form in the reverse fixtures against these teams. Why not? Let's go for it. Let's see how he does. Did very well for Jason earlier on in the season, so it seems to make sense at the moment. Paul Pogba did well on international duty for France. Was in great form before we rocked up to the Emirates and before the game against Wolves. But Jason doesn't need any more reminding of that. But Pogba has been in spectacular form since Solskjaer took over as interim manager, now confirmed as full-time manager for Manchester United. So I think there'll be a feel-good factor at Man United today. They're all settled now. They know that Solskjaer is there. Pogba's been in great form, been in really good form at home as well. Watford, one eye on next weekend with that FA Cup semi-final. Notorious Nerd said Pogba is the must-own player. But FPL Buna has warned us that watch Kevin De Bruyne. He could be the highest scorer this game week. So FPL Buna is calling it here. But yeah, I mean, we did say during the preview podcast in the week, that there would be a player that would surprise us in this double game week, a player that nobody talks about. Nobody talks about Kevin De Bruyne. We do know that he's a player of some class and that he can rack up some assists in these games. So Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, it's basically my midfield: Sterling, Hazard, Silva, Pogba. My fifth midfielder is Romeu, Aurelio Romeu, that defensive midfielder from Southampton. And as we know, during the last double game week, wouldn't it be ironic if Romeu did something this weekend and, I don't know, Sterling gets rested during the week or whatever. But I don't see Romeu doing anything. And I'm sure that could come back to haunt me. So, on to my front line. Sergio Aguero, once again, another player. Not picked for Argentina, not sure why. They certainly suffered without him, but fresh from international, not being picked for Argentina, starts today. We know that Pep loves Aguero. I think below Edison, he's seems to be sure of starts, but obviously he's sometimes taken off with 20 minutes or so to go. So yeah, Sergio Aguero. Look, Aguero, Sterling, first names on the team sheet. I don't know what you guys in chat think, but for me, Sergio Aguero was a no-brainer. So it was either him or Sterling for captain, but as I explained, I went for Sterling. And then onto the striker. This is when it gets difficult. Notorious Nerd backs me up. He said, Sergio Aguero, nickname Cun, is going to start both games. And then Brett Mollison warns us about injury doubts. But I went for Marcus Rashford. Now, Rashford did not play for England in the Euro 2020 qualifiers. I had to think about that then. But I think he'll be okay. I've just gone... This is my gamble. I think this is my biggest gamble in my team. I was going to go for Jimenez. Great fixture to Burnley. Scored against United in the FA Cup. I may regret that. I may regret that. So this is one of my most risky moves, I think. I don't know what you guys in chat think, but Marcus Rashford, 7.6 million, has done really well since Solskjaer took over. G-Wiz says avoid Jimenez. Notorious Nerd says everyone's gambling on Rashford. G-Wiz says he won't play. So I've gone for Rashford. It's done now. It's past 12 o'clock. I'm gonna get worried now doing this, but I've gone for Rashford. I feel nervous about that, if I'm honest. After this podcast, I'm just going to enjoy the sun and I'm going to avoid it all. I know the guys are doing a podcast later, just after 6, reacting to it live. Join in for that. I'm not going to be there. I'm probably going to be out in Dartmoor. If you don't know where Dartmoor is, Google it. But yeah, it's a very beautiful countryside in Devon. But I'm just going to be avoiding all of this. But I just want to recap on my team, and I want to get you guys in chat to rate my team out of 10. So, starting in goal, hoping he's fit. Starting in goal, Kepa. Then my defence is David Luiz, Lindelöf, Slup, and hoping Tompkins. But I'm a bit worried that he won't play, but Tompkins as well. So Luiz, Lindelöf, Slup, and Tompkins. And then in midfield, I've gone for Sterling, Hazard, Silva, and Pogba. And then up front, Rashford and Aguero. My third striker is Cuellar, Huddersfield. I think he's on loan at Ipswich. So, yeah, 8 out of 10 from G-Wiz. Tompkins is a worry. Brett Mollison, I like your team, actually. I will explain that I'm doing this on my mobile phone. As you can see, it's all very basic, but it serves its purpose. But your comments are flashing up and then they're disappearing. But from what I could see, team looked very good. 8 out of 10. I think rating my own team, which feels a bit weird doing that, but I feel 8 out of 10 is a fair. FPL being a 7 out of 10. Probably because he's a Tottenham fan and he's worried about the new stadium effect. But no, that's a fair score. That's a fair point. Getting Jota in. Obviously, Jason got Jota in. It's an interesting differential. Obviously, plays in this double game week. Looks brilliant in the game against Manchester United. Jota is certainly a fantastic player. Could be a differential. I think I feel all right with my team. Put it in the context of the mini league. My rivals above me do not. A lot of them don't have the free hit chip, although they could take hits and make up ground. So I'm not going to get too ahead of myself with that. But I feel okay with it. So I'm looking forward to this game week. I've been the last few game weeks, I wouldn't say given up, but I've kind of just been like, oh, you know. So FPL Buna, he's gone Rashford. Higuain was somebody I did consider. Chelsea's fixtures favourable. Higuain seems to have done well against the lesser teams, not against the bigger teams. So Higuain could be a massive differential as a forward this week. I couldn't afford to get him in because I went so heavy with my midfield. But Higuain retired and didn't play internationals. These Argentina players, they seem to retire from international duty and then come back like Messi did. And yeah, he shaved off his beard. I'm not shaving mine off, but Higuain moves like my grandma, says Brett Mollison in chat. Very controversial comments here. But yeah, Higuain, I think he could do well, to be fair. It's a good differential. I feel like my team is a little bit template. I've gone fairly safe with a few risks here and there, particularly Rashford and Tompkins. But looking at my mini league rivals, I'm really expecting something big from this double game week to make maybe a 20 or 30 point advantage on them. So, as I said, this is a very short podcast, solo podcast. I do hope you've enjoyed it. And as I say, the chaps tonight are going to be doing a live reaction podcast to today's fixtures and the implications for their teams, the Elite FPL Mini League and our Top 8 Elite Mini League that we take very, very seriously because there's money for play. Good luck, FPL Buna, and good luck to yourself, Daily Llama, as well. Hope it's sunny where you guys are. Going to have a bit of a break from football before it all starts. Thank you, G-Wiz. Good luck to yourself as well, my friend. And Newcastle win on Monday night. FPL Boon has always got to get something in there. It's going to be a tough game, you know. And cheers, Brett Mollison. FPL Boon says 3-0 to Newcastle. Come on, be real. If that happens, the beard comes off. And then I look about 12 again. So, guys, I'm going to get out in the sunshine. As I said, the guys doing the reaction podcast after 6 o'clock tonight. Connect with us on Instagram. Connect with us on Twitter at EliteFPL. If you've enjoyed this very short, live, reactionary, free hit podcast, whatever you want to call it, comment, like, and subscribe. Guys, have an awesome weekend, and I will see you all very soon. Thanks a lot.